Hello everybody, Thomas Fleming here again. Well, we did a recap on what we need to be prepared for as far as what's coming. We know what's coming, we just don't know the timing. But now I want to talk again, another recap, but what do we need to be doing about some of these things? Spiritually, we always need to be praying. Things are going to get bad, and we need to stay on top of it. We need to stay focused on God, focused on Jesus. If you don't, some of this stuff is going to really get you down. Some of the stuff I'm going to cover today, it's very negative. But don't worry about it. God will take care of us. And when we don't need to be taken care of anymore, He's going to snatch us out of the way. So we'll be fine. But the world hasn't seen anything yet. So what I'm going to talk about today is what I've been talking about for a long time. You need to be prepared for what's coming. You're going to have to live in this until we're taken out of here. And they're still going ahead. They're still setting up the pieces. We know what all the pieces are now. They're already working on each one. We can see them doing all these things. We know why they're doing it. They're still going ahead with it. They're not at all afraid of what we're going to find out. I'm just going to kind of close up my jacket a little bit. It rained all night last night, so everything's kind of damp. But they have these metal tables and benches, so it's okay. I don't have to worry about it. I've got people coming in and going through. Okay. There's nobody staying here. But I get cars going through, and I wonder where all these people come from. All right, so we're going to start looking at, in case you're not paying attention, the world's not. The world's drank the Kool-Aid, they're watching their TV, their mainstream media, and everything is fine. They're playing their video games. They're watching their movies, giving them alternative worlds to live in mentally, and they've got the metaverse. Facebook is now even calling it meta. What you see is not all there is. There's multiple universes out there, so you pick the one you want to live in. This one doesn't have God. Let's go over there and live in this one. We don't have any rules over there to follow. It's not true. But that's what they're preparing people to think. I'm glad I'm not working anymore. Okay, so what are the things that you need to be prepared for? Things that might be at risk. Well, the number one thing on this list, and my first one on this list, is money. There's two places for money. From our government, and what you can earn for your life. It's all the same money. If they destroy its value, they're destroying the government's money, and they're destroying your money. And they're slowly doing that. Would you give a credit card to a teenager and say, go have fun? Would you give a bunch of money to a bunch of drunken sailors, as the expression goes? It'd be gone on self-indulgence, or in the case of our government, they're giving trillions of dollars to everyone in the world except for us. Except for us. They could solve unemployment. They could pay us again to stay home and do nothing. But they're not doing that. They don't want you to be ready for what's coming. They want to catch you off guard. Now, you can try to work on that a little bit, but you're going to have to do some self-discipline. They're sending trillions of dollars around the world, knowing that when they crash the dollar, then what they've sent around the world is worthless. And the countries that they sent it to will have a bucket load of money that's worthless. And then they won't have the power that they thought they did. There's some logic to that, that's okay. But they're also destroying our dollar at the same time. Our inflation is due to their spending. If you give that credit card to that teenager, eventually he's going to come back to you and say, they won't take it anymore. What's wrong? Hopefully you may have taught your teenagers a little bit about financial responsibility, but if you didn't, because you weren't taught it, they won't understand. And you go log on and you say, well, look, you're overdrawn. You've charged too much stuff. You have no more credit left. So you can't use it anymore. Saudi Arabia, they just said that the dollar is no longer their exclusive currency. We set that up a few years ago so that people had to buy with the dollar. That gave us some stability in the dollar. That's gone now. We're no longer on a gold standard. That's gone. Everything the government does is to destroy us. And it's working. People aren't smart enough to do all the things that they're doing. But Satan is, and he knows exactly who to bring up to do all these things. So our money is going to be worthless soon. The people that are going to be affected, me, and anybody else who's got any kind of government assistance coming in. I've got Social Security. I've also got for my insurance, I'm a veteran, so I have the VA insurance and Medicare at my age now. What happens when all that's gone? I won't have enough money to live on. I'm currently not working. There's a lot of people not working. They're relying on their family members to keep working, to put food on the table. And you say, there's no unemployment. The government says there's no unemployment, or it's very low. Yeah, the government lies all the time. Just assume anything you hear from the government is a lie. Just assume it. Don't even give them credit. Don't look it up. Just assume it's a lie. But all the administrations have lied about unemployment. They fudge the numbers. They got little algorithms. You know, if you stop looking for work, you're off the list. You're not unemployed anymore. We don't have to keep track of you. They're only keeping track of the people that are still actively looking. If they can pay you to stay home, if they can discourage you to stay home so that you're not looking. I knew someone who was on unemployment, and they said, we'll give you more money if we can take you off of unemployment and put you on this special government program that will pay you more money. So they weren't paying unemployment to that person. They were paying something else that was probably being funded by something else. They divert money around all the time. But they were no longer paying out unemployment money to this person and everybody else that was on that program. And they bribed them by saying, I'll pay you more money. You're going to take that, of course. But you're not unemployed anymore. You're working for the government, essentially. The value of our money is dropping. It's not going to be very much longer where the world will not accept it. Okay, what else do we have to worry about? Safety. Our military, for all the time that we've been in existence as a country, has protected us. We were at one point in time the #1 superpower with our military. We are certainly capable of it, but they're destroying the infrastructure as fast as they can so that we wouldn't be able to fight our way out of a paper bag. And we're giving away everything and not replacing things. If we send arms to someplace, that's arms that we could have used to defend us. But we've sent them to somebody else, our enemies. We're sending arms and money to our enemies. We may not supply F-16s directly to Ukraine, but they're getting ready for them, and they come from us. So we may funnel them someplace else. We may have already sent them to someplace else for the purpose of doing what we're doing, and that's giving them away again to our enemies. Not only are we giving away our ability to defend ourselves, but we're giving away our technology. They come up with these stupid gender rules. They're making them so bad that if you don't learn it this way, or you don't get you're out of the military. They've been kicking people out of the military for this entire administration and prior to that. That's why every time a Republican gets in, they got to spend all kinds of money to replenish all the things that the Democrats didn't. Jimmy Carter, a good, God-fearing man, but not the right mentality. He didn't see what was going on. He didn't replenish the military. When we tried to go in and rescue our people, the helicopters were just dying in the desert. Bush had to go in and finish the job because he said he would, because they also threw 9/11 in. That was probably a mistake on their part. That kind of united us, but it also gave the government more power. As soon as this, oh my God, protect us, government, well, you're going to have to give up these rights and then we'll protect you. Yeah, and they just did. Forgetting, of course, Reagan's famous comment, the worst thing you can hear is, we're from the government and we're here to help. Yeah. Well, nowadays you want to think of it this way. I'm here with Satan and I'm here to help. That's pretty much what's going on. You know, the stuff we're pulling right now with Ukraine and with Russia, they have every reason to come over here and attack and destroy us. And they could win. But they're not. Why? Because we're destroying ourselves and they're watching and they're laughing and they know exactly what's going on. Our big round thing organizations that are out there are taking us down a path of total destruction. See, all these elites, they have this plan. It's Satan's plan, but they're carrying it out. They only want enough people left on the earth to serve them. If they want to go and fly to the Mediterranean and have steak dinner, well, they need somebody there to cook it. You know, they need someone to clean their rooms. That's the kind of people they want left. They don't want the whole population of the world. They just want to have enough so that every time they go someplace, there's enough servants to wait on them. That's all they want. They don't want people doing their own thing. You know, if you cozy up to them, they might let you have a few things. You might get some of the scraps off the table. But they don't want 8 billion people on this planet. That's too many. Because then there's all kinds of people out there with independent ideas, wanting to do their own thing. They don't want that. They want a bunch of slaves. That's essentially what they want. And they're going to get rid of everybody else. They don't care how they do it. They don't care about people. If you starve to death, you get eaten by a bear, you die from a... They don't care. They don't care because their mindset's controlled by Satan, and he wants every human being on the face of the earth dead. He's tried so many times, and he's got his Antichrist ready. I mentioned it before. Every generation he's got an Antichrist ready. Well, he knows, like we do, that we're in the final times here. So he's really got his Antichrist ready. He's ready to go forward with it as soon as everything is set up just right. So, if we had to go to war, could we win? We couldn't fight anybody. We could fight for a little while. I mean, we've got a few guns left. We've got a few tanks left. We've got a few airplanes left. But they're not making spare parts like they should. They're not buying ammo like they should. And they don't have enough fuel. They've depleted our reserves. There's no fuel left. Now, I don't know what they did. They must have bought something because they realized you can't completely shut things off because they wouldn't have anything. But they told us we were out of diesel last month, December, that they would be completely out. People are still driving. So they've done something. They've gone out and bought some. They've done something to get enough diesel to keep us working. They know that if they completely shut everything off, everybody on the earth would die, and then they'd have no more servants. And they'd have to actually do something for themselves. And these elites don't ever do things for themselves if they don't have to. They pay someone to do things. Think of big fat slobs who have servants. Picture Henry VIII or something like that. That's what these guys are like. Okay, what else do we have to be concerned about in these times? Food. We've already seen some of the things that are going on. We've seen empty shelves. We've seen prices rocketing. I saw a meme, and I don't know if this is a true price or somebody was just being funny about it, but it had a dozen eggs, and the price was $6.66. Yeah, go ahead and make your deviled eggs with those. Everything's going up, if you can find it. They're going on killing chickens all over the place, saying there's bird flu. Prove it to me. Independently. Don't send in a government inspector to tell me, because they're all working for the same dictator. There's not a problem with birds, or if there is, you quarantine them and you deal with it. But you don't go in and kill off every bird in the country because one bird got sick. We know how to take care of these things. The farmers know how to take care of these things. The government steps in and just takes over. So they're killing off. The price of turkeys went up because they were killing off turkeys. Now it's chickens, which is also going to affect eggs. There was a poultry farm just burned, I think it was yesterday. And the meat packing places and other places that processed meat last year were burning all over the place. What about farming? Well, Bill Gates is buying up as much of the farmland as he can afford. And then he's just going to let them sit. We're not going to have enough food, and then what food we are going to have is what they tell us they're going to feed us. I'm waiting to when we're going to get the new convenient Soylent Green bottles. Drink this energy drink. Yeah, it's green, that's okay. That's part of our Green New Deal. We are going to have bugs to eat. The UK has already approved cockroaches as editable. Yeah. Food's going to be a problem. I've told you to prep. I've been telling you that for a long time. Save your money. Don't go buy anything you don't need. If you can keep your old car working, keep it working. Don't buy a new one. Don't buy anything you don't absolutely need. Okay. Let's see, we got that. Cops. I guess that's pretty much for the food side of it. There's more stuff I could talk about on food, but don't want to get into the details because we already know pretty much everything going on. They've been trying to eliminate private enterprise for years. When Al Gore was vice president, he went through the country, and any place that was looking like they was going to be making money off of mining or something like that, or anything that had to do with individual people making money, he declared the land federal land and said no mining on it. When I was growing up and in high school, my dad worked in a mining company, and I saw some of that. Some of the properties that he had were declared non-mining because the government took them over. And the government is smart. Satan's smart when it comes to some of this stuff. You know, when they closed our bases down in California, California being the cesspool of every liberal thing that they can think of, when they closed the bases down, they sold the land so that they couldn't come back in. Government has always been crooked and unscrupulous. Years and years ago, back in Los Angeles, they had a rail system, a good one. You could get around all of Los Angeles by rail. Well, the car dealerships and the tire dealerships got together and bought their politicians, and they turned off rail. They said, we don't need it, it's an expense we shouldn't be paying for. Let's get rid of the rail. And some really crooked politician came up with the idea, well, look, if we just get rid of the trains and we leave the tracks in the ground, the next administration might come in and put them back in service. So then they give an order to have all the railroad tracks around Los Angeles ripped up under some claim that, you know, they're causing damage to cars as they drive over them, blah, 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 whatever it is. It's a lie. The government knows how to lie. And they took up all the railroad tracks. So there was no way they could put a train service back in there. That's why there were so many cars in Los Angeles, because there was no other way to get around. They tried buses for a little while, and of course those don't always cover the areas that you need. Rail would have been better. And they finally got the idea and the money to go ahead and put some rail back, but by this time the land was gone. You can't put a track down through somebody's yard unless you pay them for the yard. So it makes it even more expensive. So then they decided, well, we'll do a tunnel. We'll go under the city. A lot of cities do that, but they're very expensive on the budget. All right. We're not allowed to use our own natural resources. We have enough oil in this country to be oil independent. In fact, we could be making money off of it, selling it to the rest of the world. And there's hundreds and hundreds of years of supply. We're not allowed to use it for various reasons. They come up with some legal reason that you can't, or they just don't want to fund it. The pipelines, they shut them down. These are evil, evil people. You can't imagine how evil they are. If you want to compare the evilness of that, compare it to Hitler and the concentration camps. That's their thought. That's their feeling about people. They're not worth anything. We need to find out how we can kill them off as fast as possible, like they did in the concentration camps. All right. They're still trying to take away guns because they don't want us to fight back. They've got the Constitution in their way. Right now, they're not quite ready yet. But they know they can also create a crisis that they can get the people to buy into them working their way around it. Our borders are overwhelming. You read some of these dictators' books on how to overthrow a country, overwhelm the support systems. Bring these people in, bring the pregnant women in, have their babies here, and then they become a citizen, and then they get all the free stuff. These people come in and don't work. I want the good workers to come across the border and come in here and help and be part of this. I don't want freeloaders. I don't want people coming here just for the goodies. We need good, hardworking people coming in. That's how this country was built. So I'm not against immigration, but I am against open borders. We can't handle the influx. It's impossible. And the surrounding countries are helping. Mexico knows that they could stop all these people coming across their borders. They're not. Now, whether we're bribing them Whether we're telling them we're going to look the other way when you're doing your illegal stuff, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's happening. They're overwhelming hospitals. You ever been to an emergency room lately? You won't find very many legal Americans there. They're overwhelming the system. So if we as real Americans needed our support system, it's being taxed to the limit. So what's next on their overthrow? Next on their overflow is religion. They're going to try to take away the rights of religion. One of the first things they're going to try to do, and this would be more when they get control of the money, would be to take away the tax-exempt status. Saying, we're not supposed to be helping religion, so we need to take away this status. Well, that's why I won't be part of it. If you have to have a tax reason to contribute to me or any other person serving God, then you're not doing it for the person, you're doing it for the tax-exempt status. So I won't be a part of that. God will supply my needs as He always has, and I do appreciate those who do contribute. I really do. But we're going to continue this until we're not needed. God will make sure we're protected. I mean, we talked about it in my video yesterday. All the things that Jesus described, He says, but don't be afraid. I'm telling you these things so you won't be afraid. I know about them, and I'm not worried, so don't you be worried. But we do have certain responsibilities that we need to carry out. You need to have a job as much as you can. So don't go sitting at home waiting for the rapture. Just keep working. Keep bringing money in, at least while it's worth something. Don't give up. Don't stop fighting. I don't mean going out and physically fighting, but don't stop fighting to maintain some level of human decency. They're trying to take it away, but we can fight for that. Follow the government as much as you can. Until they tell you to go against God, follow the government. That's also our biblical mandate. Things are going to continue to degrade. Prep. If you need to buy, and if you haven't got any money, I understand. But you've got something. You may have to cut back. It would help in another way. Look, if I don't eat a meal, that saves the food that I would have used for that meal. I'm also fasting. So I can kill two birds with one stone. If I skip 2 meals, I'm even fasting better. So you can adapt. You have to be prepared to adapt. Because eventually, you're not going to have any other option. You will have no options left, and you won't be able to decide how to do anything because they're going to come in and take over and tell you what to do. Until they tell you to go against God, you have to follow them. They will eventually ignore the Constitution or destroy it or take it down. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but they won't follow it. It doesn't comply with any of their ideas of how the world should be. It's not meant to protect the government, it's to protect us from the government. That's why we have the Constitution, and they know that. That's why they have to destroy it. The Supreme Court has been protecting us. They're going to deal with that at some point. All right. Keep prepping. Don't build a bomb shelter. If they hit us with nukes, then we'll get out of here sooner. If that's what's supposed to happen, that'll be happening. I don't think Russia's going to use them on us, but I think that eventually somebody's going to use them over there. My personal guess on timing, and this is just a guess, we're not going to see a big World War III thing coming up. Israel can't be destroyed yet. They have to have peace. We're going to bring somebody in, it'll be the Antichrist, and he's going to bring peace to the region. How? I don't know. But we're going to be gone. That's the timing. We're going to be gone. I don't think the Magog War is in the first part. It might be after we're gone, but it's certainly not leading up to all this stuff. I used to think Magog War was first or second next to the rapture, but it can't be. Israel wouldn't be in a position to rebuild the temple if they're scattered, if they've left. They have to stay in place, rebuild the temple, and have, a fake peace. The 7-year peace treaty will be the tribulation. And it will last for that long. How long is that? I don't know. I've got to believe that the rapture is the very next thing to happen. Because Satan can't go any further. He's pushing everybody up to the limit. If he flips the switch, he's committed. And he can't do anything while we're here. He can't harm us while we're here. So he's not going to flip the switch until we're gone. But he's getting everything positioned, everything staged. If you're going to attack an enemy, you move your troops in, you move your arms in, tanks, whatever you got, and you stage them just out of sight so they can't see them. You might try to diversion something over here. For Normandy, they thought they were leaving and coming across the narrowest part of the channel when they attacked there and finally came ashore. They thought they were coming across far to the south. They made some cardboard tanks. You can't do it now because you can see with satellites so much better, but back then they couldn't. They'd fly over at high altitudes and they could see what looks like rows and rows of tanks. They were made out of cardboard. They looked like a tank from the air. They thought they were staging their force on that side for the narrow part of the channel. They went further north. That was a good dodge. Well, they're going to still do the same type of thing. Satan's far more cleverer than the men that devised that plan. So he's going to have something to keep people distracted. It's going to happen fast, and it's going to happen soon. I'm thinking between now and Easter, but it could happen as early as next week, frankly. I'm waiting for the first set of actions coming out of this annual meeting that they had. They're going to be doing something from that. They wouldn't have pulled everybody in for this meeting. Now they got to have a plan that they can put into place. So we got to get out of here. And that's all in Satan's pocket at this point in time. He needs to try to come off and attack us while we're still here. Revelation 12. Okay. Stay strong. Keep prepping because we don't know how long we're going to be here. You won't be any good if you can't function. You got to be able to eat, stay healthy. If you're going to the gym, keep going to the gym. I go on hikes. I don't work out as much as I should, but I do every day, and I've got my Fit app on my phone. Keep doing things to stay healthy and stay strong so that you can fight up until the last second. Because you will need to. And if you're lucky, and of course there's no such thing as luck, so I use that as a common term. If you're listening to God, you'll be able to reach out and grab somebody and bring them with you as we go up. That's the key. Don't go alone. Bring someone with you. At least one. All right. Till we meet in the clouds, God bless.